अपना कोर्स, get smart, get ahead.
Sanjay is 31 years and he is working in a managerial capacity with a private sector bank in Mumbai. So here both the case studies are from Mumbai. We have seen Sahanupati Vanaspati earlier, and she is a widow. So that we have seen the details. Single parent. Now Sanjay he is a family person. So I just took a different case over here. He has been married for 2 years now. His wife Sherlyn is 28 years old and son Ajinkya is aged 1 year. His package is 15 lakh per annum. That is Sanjay's salary package is 15 lakhs per annum for the year beginning on current date. That is reference date is 1st of April 2012. So on this date. So it is tallying with the financial year as we discussed earlier. So this will be a comfort. It's quite comfortable for you to calculate the taxation. The breakup of his yearly package is as follows. Particulars per annum. Okay. Basic is 3 lakhs. HRA is 1,44,000. Petrol allowance. Okay. 48,000. Lunch allowance 24,000. Gift voucher 18,000. EPF employees contribution 30,000 and EPF employers contribution is also 30,000 per annum, and other allowances are 9,06,000. So what are those other allowances? We need to see, because definitely that will be taxable, because they have not specifically stated what it is. And they say petrol allowance, is it taxable or not? Like how we have highlighted earlier, for this case also we'll try to highlight the details. Okay. Petrol allowance, when it is paid as an allowance, we don't know whether it is utilized or not. So it is not a reimbursement. So it is taxable fully. Lunch allowance is taxable. Lunch, if it is given, lunch if it is provided at the office premises, that is also taxable. But only in the remote installation and offshore installation it is not taxable. So both lunch and petrol allowances are taxable. Gift voucher, so if it is up to 5,000 it was exempt, but it is cross 5,000, so this is also 18,000 is also taxable. HRA, we have to see whether he is owning a house or he is staying in a rented accommodation. Okay, basic is anyway taxable. EPF contribution, employer's contribution is not taxable currently, it will be taxable. We have to consider it at the time of whether it is a URPF, that is unrecognized provident fund, or recognized provident fund. Okay, because it's a bank, private sector bank. So probably it's a recognized provident fund, but details are not given. Let's see, if any question requires it, they would have provided the details. Then employees contribution, we can consider it for ATC. We go to the next slide. Monthly expenses, house rent 10,000 rupees. Household expenses 15,000. So this might be required because a lot of retirement and other calculation we may have to include this. Amount spent on petrol for household is 2,000 rupees. Okay. These are all monthly expenses. Earlier salary is stated per annum, whereas this is stated per month. We'll see. He has got a plenty of investments. Equity mutual fund scheme, but the amount is less only, 3,95,582. 5 schemes of different mutual fund houses. 1 in sector, 2 schemes are focused on mid-cap stocks, 2 are diversified funds with large-cap focus. SIP for 2,000 rupees started a year ago and continuing in each scheme in the beginning of every month. So how many SIPs are happening? 5 schemes. So totally there should be 10,000 rupees which is going towards SIP. 2,000 per scheme. So this is total is 10,000. Balanced mutual fund scheme, 1,80,000 is the outstanding value. SIP of 5,000 is going beginning of every month. The asset allocation for the scheme is equal in equities and debt. So this is one information. What do you understand from this asset allocation? In case of whenever we are considering it for taxation purpose, what happens is, in a balance fund, if it is 65% and more is into equity, then it is treated like equity. How equity schemes are treated, in the same manner it is treated. But whereas if it is less than 65% in equity, it is treated like a debt scheme. So in case of balance fund, in this case, equal in equity means 50-50. So in this case, we need to treat it like a debt fund. So taxability is like debt fund. We have ELSS, started investment in 2nd February 2004 with 3,000 units at a price of 12.68 and an open-ended ELSS scheme growth option. Invested 50,000 at a price of 33.46 per unit on 18th Jan 2007. Probably there could be a question on something related to capital gain or something. Okay, because NAV on 31st March is also given. Or sometimes certain schemes they ask about even XIRR. There is a concept called XIRR, extended. That is, XIRR is about IRR only, but it takes care of even the dates. See, generally dates, month and year, all the three are considered, then we are taking it as XIRR. Only month and year when we need to consider, we are getting into IRR itself. But if there is even month cannot be, IRR generally is per year. If there is a dividend which is given every year on the same date, then we consider under IRR. That is in cash flow. Whereas if the date is changing, month is changing, then we need to consider XIRR, which is a very easy function in our Excel. So that also we'll learn. He has got some gold jewelry and coins, 100 grams, received as a gift on occasion of marriage in the financial year 2007-8. Price of standard gold per 10 grams is rupees 28,125 as on 31st March 2012. Sanjay would buy 10-gram coin of pure gold every year in April from now onwards. So he is planning all that. But this is given along with the assets, so that is, it is already decided, so he is going to buy. Car 2 lakhs. So value of car is 2 lakhs. PPF account is 1,77,440. The account was opened on 8 July 2007 and Sanjay has been investing 30,000 at every year end. So year end, remember this PPF, that means 31st of March or after 5th of March is year end only, because no interest is accumulated for that particular year. So it's year end, it can be considered. Balance in savings account is 50,000. Probably if there is any calculation on net worth or anything like that, we can consider liquidity ratio if they ask for. So cash balance has to be known. Balance in fixed deposit, 1,50,000 invested with a bank on 1st August 2010 for 24 months. Okay, with an accumulation option. The interest is compounded quarterly at the rate of 7.25. So the case study date is 1st April 2012. So this will mature in 1st August 2012. So there is a possibility of withdrawal over here. So 7.25% interest is compounded quarterly. Okay. So that is one case. Employees Provident Fund, EPF. This is a cumulative balance which they have given. So generally it is given on 31st March. So 31st March 2012 balance is given. House property situated at Aurangabad, gifted on 1st December 2011 when the market value was 25 lakhs. Does it have any relevance? We will see. Suppose he is selling this house, then what is the consideration? Because it is gifted. So whether at the time of gift, whether he had paid any tax, gift is from whom? Okay, that is not stated here. Okay. Anyway, 2011 he has received as gift. So that past. So this current year is not there. He didn't receive it in the current year. So that may not be the question, but probably there could be a question of capital gain over there. Term insurance plan of 10,000 per annum paid as premium. So what is the sum assured? Sum assured is 50 lakhs. Remember this. 50 lakhs was the case in Sahanubhuti also. So this is the cover he has got by way of term assurance. Now he has got the following financial goals. Buying a flat in 18 months from now at Mumbai, whose current cost is 60 lakh. So 18 months from now, so 1.5 years from now, the loan to value ratio offered by the home loan company is 0.80. It's as simple as 80% is the loan. That's all. The rate of interest is 9.75% per annum for 25 years of tenure. So this is one information. Then retirement at the age of 62. So retirement age also is important. What is current age? 62, 31 and 62. Okay. So he wants to accumulate the retirement corpus by utilizing his existing investments in PPF and equity linked savings scheme. So ELSS, whatever he is accumulating along with the PPF, he wants to utilize it. Buying a car costing rupees 6 lakhs at then prices in October 2012 after disposing the existing car. So this is another goal. So car cost is 6 lakhs. So this is what we need to remember in October 2012. So they have decided the month also. Admission of Ajinkya to an international school when he attains the age of 3. So the current age of the child is 1 year. So 3 years, another 2 years waiting period is there. So rupees 4 lakh would be required at current prices. Remember, current prices suitably invest to meet his recurrent education expenses. So what is the recurrent expense? They have not stated. Okay, 4 lakh would be required. That is what they have given. Then Ajinkya's higher education when he attains the age of 18, 15 lakh would be required at current prices. So everything is one-time expense kind of a thing it is stated. So we'll see how the questions are framed in this. Sanjay's expected life is 80 years. Sherlyn is also 80 years. Assumptions regarding long-term pre-tax returns on various asset classes. Equity is 11%. Balance is 9. Bonds, government security debt scheme is 7. Liquid is 5.5. Gold and gold ETF is 7.5. Inflation is 5.5. Expected return in risk-free instrument is 6.5. Real estate appreciation is 8%. One big advantage with this case study is they don't have separate inflation for each and every goal. Whereas in the previous case study, we had separate inflation for every goal. Here that is not so. So we'll see what kind of a question is asked here. First question. Sanjay intends to buy a car after 6 months as per the goal. Okay, but he wants to buy it. We just saw October, isn't it? In the month of October. Now the case study date is 1st April 2012. The dealer offers loan at the rate of 11%. Sanjay intends to sell his existing car for an amount of 1.3 lakhs. I think we have seen that current value is somewhere around 2 lakhs, but he is selling it for 1.3 lakhs as per the terms of the contract. Okay, he has to sell. It is kind of selling and buying a new car, I think. Then dealer would charge processing fee of 1%. Sanjay would not like to use any cash transaction from his side. So whatever is the loan amount on that 1% will be the processing fee. So Sanjay does not like to use any cash transaction from his side. So what does it mean? And thus the processing fees would be factored in the loan. So this is an important factor. So the processing fee will also be included in the loan. What would be the EMI considering the term of the loan is 4 years. So what will happen? So what is the EMI? N is 4 years. So what is the cost of the car? I think it is 6 lakhs. So we need to know the cost of the car. So cost of the car is 6 lakhs. Okay, they have given 6 lakhs as the then price itself. So what happens is we have 11%, interest as 11%. Now out of the 6 lakhs, 1.3 lakhs will be from the by disposing the old car. Existing car he can give it for 1.3 lakhs. So out of 6 lakhs I am reducing 1.3 lakhs. So what is the net loan amount? So 4.7. So 4,70,000 will be the loan. So what will happen is, now 4,70,000 if it were to be the loan, the processing fee is 1% on that. But if you add this process fee, what will happen is loan amount will increase. So what you need to do is, we need to have it in such a way that this 1% so 1% is also considered. So if you take 4,70,000 as the loan amount and charge 1% on that, what is the value? 4,70,000 into 1%, right? 4,700 will be the value. Now on this 4,000, because this is also getting added as a loan, on this also they have to charge 1% as the process fee. So suppose I take 1% of this also, that will be 47 rupees. So that will also be added. So the loan amount will become 4,70,000 plus 4,700 plus 47 rupees. So it is 47, 47, 47. This will be the loan amount. Then interest is 11%. N is 4 years. So what is the EMI? That is what is the question. Anything else is there? Dealer would charge processing fee. Sanjay will not use to. Okay. So he wants to buy this. What is the EMI? So we'll take it to compound. N is 4 into 12. Setting is end. I is 11%. PV is 474747. PMT to be calculated. Future value is 0. P bar Y is 12. C bar Y is 12. Okay. We'll arrive at the EMI as 12,270 rupees. Suppose I don't consider that 47, what will happen? 12,268, there will be a border difference is there. So only 2 rupees difference. Okay. So here dealer would charge processing fee of 1%. This is an important factor because it was a small amount, not much of a difference. But the thing is, sometimes they may give the answer as 12,270, 12,268, 12,275 and all that. So you should be knowing how which need to be considered. So dealer offers the loan at 11%. Okay, prepayment period is 4%. 4 years. So EMI is 12,270 is the answer.
Apna course. Get smart. Get ahead.